Good evening. It's Thursday, March 3rd. I'm going to talk about numbers in regards to being an artist, being a ceramicist, and in some ways just being a citizen these days. So I'm going to sound a little like a boomer here because I'm going to talk a little bit about the past. But we're hitting a period of notable inflation. And it's going to be hard for some people, and they're going to have issues at how to relate to it. And for me, I have two separate things that hit. Okay, so one is, what is a dollar worth? Or we'll even skip back there. What is $20 worth? Okay, because I'm old enough, I can remember when, say, $27 was my entire weekly paycheck. That was working part-time as a 14-year-old at $1.50 an hour, 18 hours a week. Okay, this has been a long time since that was relevant. But it was also happening in a period of high inflation. This was 1973. And one of the things that came up was that money was obviously worth less and less from month to month. There was really no incentive to save. What you did was you figured out things you needed to own and would hold their value, or at least last longer than a week, kind of thing. And you would buy them now before the price went up. And that is a very inflationary psychology, because it meant that anybody selling something could raise the price, and lo and behold, people were buying it. Well, they weren't buying it necessarily because it was, worth 20% more than it had been worth 2 weeks ago. They were buying it out of a panic sense of, I'm going to need it. I should buy it now before it's even more expensive. And some countries have seen that psychology spiral way out of control. I hope ours isn't one of them. I mean, at some point, what you have to do to end inflation is to say, no, it's not worth that higher price. Okay, so as artists, we are both price setters and price consumers. And there are some things that we can't really vote no on. So if if the price of our materials goes up, in some cases we can choose not to buy, but in some cases, like the clay itself, we're sort of stuck. Potentially we could choose to buy our clay from a different supplier, but most of our purchases are based on geographic convenience. I mean, I'm not going to drive to Minnesota to get a better price on wet clay. I've got other reasons to drive to Minnesota, but getting bargain clay isn't one of them. So there are some increases in prices that we're just going to eat, and it's just the nature of the game. There are other things where, like, I've noticed, for instance, when I eat out or to get takeout or something like that, okay, so the bill seems higher, and I have to remember why, and then I have to remember, okay, I'm not tipping a certain amount just because of a loyalty to that amount. I'm tipping a certain percentage because really the workers need and deserve the money. And yes, 20% of a higher bill is a higher tip. Ouch. But I have to decide, am I committed to the percentage or going to be old-fashioned about the amount? Okay, that's an internal struggle. Everybody deals with it their own way. Okay, so what we come down to is, are we going to raise our prices? If so, how much? If so, why? If so, when do we stop? Okay, those are all questions you have to ask for yourself. Why am I raising my prices? Do I intend to keep on raising them? And at one point, do I blame poor sales on having prices that are too high? When do I get it wrong? It's a challenge. If you keep raising your prices and people keep buying your stuff, then clearly there was nothing wrong with raising your prices. And if they stop buying your stuff, there might be other reasons. So it's a struggle. Personally, I'd like to not raise my prices. I'd like to not be that guy. I'd like to still always have something in the shop that a child can buy with a $5 bill. Not the whole shop. Something. And in the end, I think the reality is that price is emotional. So if our prices are low enough that we feel cheated as the seller, that's the key thing. Because we don't do this to feel cheated. Okay. So, for yourself, think about your prices. Expect prices of other things to go up. And work out how you're going to position yourself emotionally. Because that's really what price is about. It's about emotions. Have a good night.